The M1 MacBook Air from 2020 is now available in 2024 for just around $600 or 4500 RMB. Given its overall performance, I argue the M1 MacBook Air is the best value laptop you can get today. Before switching to a Mac, I spent 3 to 4 years using Windows laptop, mostly for work. After making the jump, here are some immediate quality of life improvements that I noticed. But first, a quick disclaimer, everything I'm about to share is based on how I personally feel using these devices. This isn't a spec by spec or a data-driven comparison. It's more about my experiences as an average user interacting with the device. The major improvements I have noticed can be broken down into 3 key areas. The first one is the power / battery, and the second one is the display. The last one is the build quality and future proofing. So on the power and the battery, there are 3 points. The first one is the power efficiency. Let's talk about the power brick that comes with the MacBook. It's just 30 watts. Now some people might argue that Apple is cutting cost by including only a 30 watts charger. But here's another perspective. It's Apple's flexing on how power efficient the M1 MacBook is. It can run and charge effectively with just 30 watts. In contrast, many Windows laptops requires at least 65 watts, with some even needing like 100 watts as their minimum charging wattage. And also the performance on battery. Another key point about power efficiency is the performance. On Windows laptop, I have noticed that they tend to slow down significantly when running on battery, even in performance modes, right? But with the MacBook, the performance remains consistently smooth, whether it's plugged in or running on battery. And this is a huge deal for me as I often bring my laptops to meetings, on business trips, and to different locations. And having a reliable performance without being tied to a power outlet is very important. And battery life. One thing that always frustrated me with Windows laptop was the battery life. Anytime I had longer meetings, say over 2 hours, well, no meeting should last more than 2 hours, but the idea is the battery often struggle to keep up when the terrible meeting does happen. But with a Mac, it's a completely different story. I can treat the battery life just like I would with a smartphone. It comfortably holds up like 8 hours even with heavy use. And here's the best part. It doesn't compromise performance like many Windows laptops tend to do when running on battery. The second area is the display. For me, I have experienced eye strain after staring at Windows laptop screen for long hours, but never on Macs. So let me put it this way. You can get a great display on a Windows laptop. However, if you are on a budget like $600 range, there's a chance you will end up with a terrible display because the manufacturers have to cut corners somewhere to achieve the price point while maintaining a decent performance. With a Mac, the display is all standardized, like with accurate color calibration and all that, even on older models. It's just another area where the Mac consistently delivers, whereas the Windows laptop, I find myself less confident on the display quality. The third area I like to talk about is the build quality and future proof. The Mac is known for its design and build quality, so I don't have much to say here. It's just beautifully made. And regarding the future proofing, the M1 chip is Apple's first chip designed for the Mac. And here's a quote from MKBHD here. He said, "The quantum leap was from the last generation of Intel Macs to the first generation of Apple Silicon Macs. The performance jump with the M1 was so big that I'm confident the machine will last me for another 5 years at least." And that kind of longevity is rare. And I think that's one of the reasons why M1 MacBook Air is such a standout device, even today. However, I wouldn't say everyone should just rush out and buy one. In fact, my first few weeks after switching were pretty rough. A lot of struggles come from like differences in shortcuts and muscle memories between macOS and Windows, while others were tied to the MacBook itself. And I will be making another video to dive deeper into what I did to make the transition smoother. But for now, I want to highlight a few challenges and caveats you should be aware of before making the switch. The first issue I notice is the laptop becomes noticeably laggy if I keep it running for more than 5 days without rebooting. This could be due to the 8 GB RAM limitation, but I have seen MacBook Pro users reporting the same problem, so I'm not entirely sure. It might even be a macOS issue. Another drawback is the limited support for the external display on the MacBook Air. With M1 and M2 chips, you are limited to connecting just one external monitor. Starting with M3, you can connect up to 2 external monitors, but only when the lid is closed. So if you're someone who needs multiple external monitors for your setup, this limitation is worth noting. And last but not least, if you're considering buying the M2 MacBook, thinking it might be a superior device or newer device, here's the catch. M2 base model actually have a slower SSD read and write speed compared to the M1s. And if you go to Apple's website looking for a Mac, the M1 MacBook Air is nowhere to be found. Only M2. Yeah, go figure.